Hello everybody, hope you're well and hope you're having a good day so far. My name is Mohammed Yunus and I'm an engineer and artist from Egypt. I currently live in the UK and I specialize in Islamic geometric patterns art. My aim is to teach as many people as possible really this art form, and hopefully through these videos that I share with you, you'd be able to learn, create, enjoy and relax. Um, I'm doing these videos and giving all these information and resources for free. So your support is highly appreciated. If you could subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. You could also share this video with anyone you'd know interested or on your social media pages. That would be of great help. And as always, if you have any questions about this artwork or about the process in general, or any questions about geometric art or abstract art, please leave them in the comments section. If you like this video, then thumbs up, and if there's something you don't like about this video, please let me know, and hopefully we'll cover it, or we will make sure it's improved in the next videos. So in today's video, we're gonna be covering or explaining how do you start analyzing pattern, and I've chosen this pattern which is really beginner friendly. So with this pattern, you can really, I think, find it in a lot of places, and the reason I chose this simple pattern is to make it as beginner friendly as possible. So let's get started. So when you have a pattern like this, it really helps if the first step you'd be looking at is trying to find the lines of symmetry on the pattern. And the lines of symmetry are actually any lines, at any angle where you can verify or see on the pattern that the pattern is actually a true reflection of itself on that line or across that line. So for as an example, I would say you can see that this is clearly a line of symmetry. So what I'll do is on this pattern, I will draw a line just to show whereabouts is this line of symmetry. And I can see that the same line of symmetry is repeated in other places across the pattern. So that gives me an indication that the repeating unit, or the base unit which repeats and tessellates to form this overall pattern, is between these lines. So between these lines, excuse the pun. Yeah. So yeah, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of symmetry that I've found so far. So again, because this is such a simple pattern, I can also see that this is another line of symmetry. And if I place my set square here, now the paper is stuck to the desk. Yeah, so if I draw this line, this is another line of symmetry. Another line of symmetry over here. And what I'll do is I'll leave a link to this template in the description below the video. So feel free to download a copy of this, print it out, or even, mark it up on your tablet or computer or phone, whatever, whatever you're comfortable with. But basically, we can see that these are some of the symmetrical or symmetry lines that we can find on this pattern. Another line would be here as well. So thinking about it, this side of the pattern is a mirror reflection of this side of the pattern. So this is where they call them also the kaleidoscope lines. So these are also another set of symmetry lines. And and that's okay. I don't have to draw all of them, but effectively I'm seeing that the units are between these symmetrical lines, or lines of symmetry, sorry. If I take this line as well, and similarly this line, so hopefully you get the idea. But I can see now that the actual repeating unit is this one here, or, you know, I could basically say it's this one. Okay, so I can see that this unit is the same as this unit, only mirrored across the vertical axis, this vertical axis, and this unit is this unit, but it's just mirrored across the horizontal axis, and so on and so forth. So it's effectively one unit, and this is, you know, it's the simplest pattern out there, I know, but you know, it's a good exercise to get you used to these symmetrical lines, identifying the symmetry lines, seeing where the base units are, etc. So with this first step of analyzing the pattern out of the way, I have identified that this is the base unit. Okay, and if you're not sure about the base unit and where it can be tessellated as a pattern, please, you know, feel free to refer to the previous videos where I explain this in more detail. But effectively, this will be my base unit that I want to draw, and I want to analyze and make sure that I draw correctly in the right in the right geometric proportions, to make sure that I can actually produce, you know, the near perfect pattern. It's never going to be perfect, of course, because it's produced by hand, or even on the computer. There's always going to be that element, but as perfect as it could be. So the next step would be to analyze the actual base unit. So looking at this base unit, I could actually see that this is my base unit. So I've just printed like a magnification of it at the moment. So let's have a look. So with this base unit, I know that this length is equal to this length, because this is the 8-pointed star, and the 8-pointed star is actually inside or enclosed in a circle. So all these points are are at an equal distance from the center. So if this is my center, then this point would be at a distance of, let's call it r. This means that this distance is also r, and this distance is r. So this would be the very first step that we have identified, and we've just identified that we can draw or find these 3 points through the compass. So the compass is the tool that we use to draw a range of radii that have the equal distance. So this would be my first step in drawing this pattern. Now, naturally, I also know that in the 8-pointed star, the points are at a 0 angle, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, another 45 degrees, etc., etc. So this point would be on the diagonal. So here I am, I've identified the first point. I already know these 2 points. So now I need to figure out a way, how do I get these 2 points? And for that, I just need to use my compass again and take this measurement, which is a square root of 2 -1 of the r. Okay, I know it might not make much sense at the moment, but that's okay, and we will figure it out together later. But what I want to show you is that this distance is actually the same as this distance. So what I want to do is draw this arc here and draw again. It's the same distance where this point lies. So I'm going to draw this arc here as well. Now, I still didn't find where these points are. Well, the second diagonal should solve that. So these 2 points are on the second diagonal in the square. So here I am. I arrive at these points, and this is all what I need to draw this base unit. So now let's repeat this on one of the squares inside the grid. So if I want to draw this pattern on this grid, okay, and remember what we said in the previous video, this grid is not there to make us figure out the actual pattern. We don't use the grid method, we use the traditional method. And again, I'll explain more on that in the next videos. But this grid is only there to help us tessellate and repeat the base units. And I'm going to show you how now. So let's start by creating the base unit in that top left square. So I just take the measurement here, and this is the opening of my compass. Just make sure that it's the same. Yeah, so yeah. So I draw my first arc. Oh, sorry about that. See, I made a mistake, but I'll do a video on how to avoid doing that, because this is one of the mistakes that you should avoid doing as well. And we all make mistakes, so let me erase this out. So the next step will be to draw 2 diagonals. And remember what we said about the 2 diagonals. So these were my 2 diagonals here. Okay. Another tip for you is when you draw the construction lines, draw them as lightly as possible. So as light as you can get away with it, basically, because you don't want the construction lines to be dark. However, because I'm filming this and I want you to see it clearly, I'm darkening my lines. So my next step would be to draw these arcs that, as we said, were the square root 2 minus 1 of the base radius. Okay, and over here I don't really need the whole arc, but maybe I can just mark this part. I'll draw the whole arc just to show you the idea. Okay, and repeat the same arc here again. So make sure I'm pressing on the compass slightly, but just at a very simple angle, and not not holding the compass very heavily, but let it slide and carry its own weight, and the pencil will follow, making the mark. So here we go. This would be my lines. Okay, and let me just darken this so that you can see them more clearly in the video. So perhaps maybe I'll just zoom in a bit to show you. Yeah, I think this is clear enough, hopefully. So now it's time to ink the actual pattern that or the base unit. So here you go. These are my lines. Yeah. Okay, and this becomes my base unit. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the comment section. As always, if you like this video, please, give us the thumbs up. Your support is appreciated. If you could subscribe and hit the notification bell button, and please share this with anyone who you feel wants to learn more about this art, or could, use an enjoying practice of geometric art. I'll leave a link in the comment section for my newsletter as well, where I share, free resources and free information and free tutorials, and sometimes, a lot of free downloads and templates to paint and all sorts. So I'll leave the link for that in the description below as well. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And until the next video, where I'm gonna show you how you could repeat this base unit using a tracing paper to actually fill the surface with the pattern. And yeah, have a nice day. Thank you so much.